Maybe I'm more than what you think.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Penguin Episode 1 video. This is taking place inside the Batman universe, Robert Pattinson's Batman, Matt Reeves movies. The entire series is meant to be a prequel to the events of the Batman 2, so the idea is that it takes place just like a week or two after the end of the Batman movie, which is why the beginning of Episode 1 is sort of like a recap of the end of the Batman movie. And it's going to end right before the events of the Batman 2. Matt Reeves also revealed that the Batman 2 will take place during the winter season, so that means that the series will end around winter. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. There's a bunch of Easter eggs here, so careful for spoilers if you have not seen the episode yet. We'll just start at the beginning and work our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs and WTF moments. Starting with the title, After Hours, a reference to Penguin killing Alberto Falcone after hours at the Iceberg Lounge, like it is after hours because it's basically shut down because of what the Riddler did, destroying the dams, flooding the city. The series was basically meant to be a cross between Scarface, like Penguin's rise to power, him becoming comic book Penguin, meets Sopranos, meets the Batman. I know there'll be a ton of questions about what Batman is doing during the events of the series. We'll probably get more Easter eggs for him in the background too, like they directly mention him at the beginning of the episode just to sort of place you in the timeline. The actual opening scene starts with the Batman theme music from the first movie because literally like the opening scene is a scene taken from the end of the first movie. There are a couple of brand new perspectives that they show you during the cleanup process, but it's all meant to be from that ending scene where FEMA comes in, like the government and the police are basically trying to rescue everyone. This shot of the Penguin looking outside Carmine Falcone's office is taken from the end of the Batman movie. They start with the news broadcast talking about everything that's just happened, basically to sort of catch you up, sort of like a recap of the Batman movie itself. Everybody still seems really surprised by Carmine Falcone's death. There's this power vacuum. Everybody wonders what's going to happen next. When they say his killer has not come forward yet, that's because it was the Penguin himself that shot Falcone. Irony then that he also shot his son, his successor. They mentioned Bella Real a couple times. Remember, she was running for mayor. Matt Reeves reveals that she actually becomes mayor by the events of the Batman 2. So during the episode, when he starts to arrange blackmailing some of the council members who are in debt to Carmine Falcone, he's basically trying to get people on the inside of her administration. They mentioned the wealthier parts of the city have been unaffected by the Riddler's attack. The poorest areas were the ones that were wrecked, which is where most of the series takes place, like the dirtier parts of Gotham. Notice one of the towns on the news ticker reads Otisburg, which is a place in Gotham from the Batman comics, like it's a neighborhood of Gotham, but it's also a funny callback to the Christopher Reeves Superman when Otis wanted to name a town for him after Lex Luthor had pulled off his plan to make all this real estate that he'd purchased in the desert wealthier by basically destroying the western seaboard of the United States.
Otisburg? Where's that monster? She's got her own place, man.
Otisburg?
The news mentions the drug problem around the city. They show you a bunch of drops. It becomes a big plot line during the episode because it's part of the Falcone's operation and used to be part of the Maroni's operation. I'll explain that too because it involves the circumstances for how Sal Maroni wound up in Blackgate Penitentiary from the comics in the first place. There's a lot of backstabbing and double-crossing going on because we're talking about a bunch of big mob families from the Batman comics. Like it's very Game of Thrones with the mobs during the episode. You notice that they've recast Mark Strong as Carmine Falcone. In present day, he's still dead after the events of the first Batman movie, but we'll probably see some flashbacks with the character. Matt Reeves revealed the reason why they recast from John Turturro's version of Carmine Falcone is just because the actor, John Turturro, was unavailable for filming the series. Mark Strong already looks a little bit younger than John Turturro without having to put any special makeup on, so it's a little bit easier to de-age him without having to use heavy special effects for those flashback scenes. A lot of you will also remember that Mark Strong has already been DC characters before. He's most known as Sinestro from the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, even though most of the times when we talk about the Green Lantern movie, we're making fun of it or Ryan Reynolds is making fun of it. Of all the things that you could make fun of in that movie, and Ryan Reynolds has made fun of pretty much every aspect of that movie except for some of the other actors' performances like Mark Strong's Sinestro, which I felt like was totally fine given all the other crazy stuff going on with that movie. Really big coincidence, they're also doing the HBO Green Lanterns series, which is going to be happening in the next couple of years. That'll be completely disconnected from Ryan Reynolds' version of Green Lantern. It's going to be a DCU series more connected to what's happening with the new Superman movie in James Gunn's DCU. This Penguin series is just connected to the Matt Reeves Batman universe, which itself is not currently connected to the DCU. It's like its own little universe off by itself. But as you can see, I put the brand new DC Studios logo at the beginning of this, so even if the show is not connected to James Gunn's DCU, it's DC Studios producing all this stuff, just like Marvel Studios produces all the Marvel movies and the Marvel TV shows. A lot of you will recognize that the logo is based on the DC Comics logo that they used from 1976 to 2005. So if you bought any comics that were published during that period, you recognize the logo. But the news and most of the other characters throughout the episode talk about the power struggle the Vacuum left after Carmine Falcone's death. There's a lot of other crime families in Gotham trying to steal their territory from them while this is happening, and people inside the family vying for power. Then you have the Penguin character who's also doing the same thing, but he sort of represents his own little faction just inside the Falcone family. Technically, he's still inside the family. All the different moves that he makes during the episode is to basically secure his position with Sophia Falcone so that she doesn't suspect him of Alberto's death anymore. Within the context of the series, Carmine Falcone had 2 sons and a daughter, Sophia Falcone, Alberto, who we meet, and the other brother. They're not really clear why it's Sophia who's trying to take over the family and not the older brother, but maybe they'll deal with that in future episodes. They're really trying to make her feel like she's the alpha inside the family, and she is playing a version of the comic book character, the Hangman character from Batman Dark Victory. They're adapting parts of that storyline, like she was part of Batman The Long Halloween and Batman Dark Victory, which was sort of like a sequel to Long Halloween. No big surprise then that Matt Reeves said that The Long Halloween inspired some of the plot of the first Batman movie, so the sequel to that comic book story also inspires the sequel to that movie. If you haven't read that story, Sophia Falcone on the show is very much in the tone of the comic book version of the character, just completely batshit crazy. Penguin starts the episode traveling to the wreckage of the Iceberg Lounge in his purple Maserati, purple for Penguin. Notice that he waddles like he does in the comics, and he's got his trademark umbrella, but because it's raining, so like they try to do it in a very real-world kind of way. This is meant to be the story of how he becomes the comic book Penguin, so like he doesn't start out that way. They've also changed his name inside the Matt Reeves Batman universe. Instead of his name being Oswald Cobblepot, it's actually Oz Cobb. That's not shortened, like that's his actual name, Oz Cobb, just to make him sound more real world. Penguin in the comics came from money. This version of Penguin does not. He breaks into Carmine's safe and steals a file that he had with dirt on a whole bunch of people, really powerful people. Notice all the names here. These will probably be relevant for future episodes, future Batman-related plot, like Eric Cottonwood here, HH. Look at this old photo here. It says Founders on it. This seems like more Court of Owls references to like the founding of Gotham City, like the most powerful families inside Gotham. Then one of the files inside here he finds is on one of the councilmen, Sebastian Haiti. It seems like he's been paying him off, like he's in debt to Carmine Falcone, like he has a gambling problem. So Penguin tries to use that to get a man on the inside of Bella Real's administration in the government. The person with all the candid photos getting it on with the woman is John Vitti, the nephew of Carmine Falcone in the comics, and one of the lieutenants inside their family, who apparently hates Penguin, and Penguin probably hates him too. Alberto shows up, no idea what he was trying to do here, probably also trying to steal something from the office or the safe. You notice Penguin thinking on his feet here, calling audibles. He does this throughout the episode, like, okay, gotta save my position here, otherwise I'm gonna get shot in the face. So he plays it off like he was trying to help Alberto, like, I'm here to make sure you get all these jewels. You can't trust the other guys, but you can definitely trust me. So the big idea here is they didn't plan on killing Alberto. As he reveals to his mother later, it was just a snap decision in the heat of the moment. He did not like being made fun of, being laughed at, so that's meant to inform his character through like the rest of the Batman story, like however long he stays in these movies. Also, listening to his mother verbally abuse him the way that she does, you have to imagine he probably grew up with her being like that 24/7, so it's very easy to understand why he has so many mental issues, many complexes right now. If you've seen any of my House of the Dragon videos talking about Game of Thrones universe, Aemon Targaryen is a little bit like this. Like the worst thing you can do on that show is laugh at him. Same thing with the Penguin. Laughing at the Penguin is like a death sentence. And speaking of which, talk about pissing the Penguin off, the way that Matt Reeves explained it during the events of the first movie is that the Penguin is a derogatory term that people call him. He actually hates it when people call him the Penguin. That's why you see most of the people that know him or have some sort of working relationship with him call him Oz, as in Oz Cobb. Then Alberto claims that John Vitti was going to stop him from making some revolutionary new drug, so he's trying to keep it secret, and this is the plan that he then takes on as his own plan. He's going to use it to try to ride it to power eventually. There are a couple lore dumps that are relevant to later in the episode. We find out about Carmine's ring. It was actually the boss of bosses ring from Gotham City that he took from Salvatore Maroni when he double-crossed him and got him thrown in Blackgate Penitentiary. So part of the idea in the history of Gotham City, the idea is that Salvatore Maroni worked with Carmine Falcone, like all the different mobs were in collusion with each other to distribute the drops drug around the city. And then what happened is Carmine Falcone wanted Salvatore Maroni's territory, his drops business, so he basically sold him out to the feds, got him arrested, thrown in Blackgate, and then took over his territory. That's why Salvatore Maroni wants revenge on the Falcones so badly. Played by, as everybody recognized, Clancy Brown, who's played a bunch of DC characters in the past. Most people remember him as Lex Luthor, though. Outside of the Falcones, the Maronis are meant to be the most powerful crime family. So that's why he tries to play both of those families against each other. When Penguin gives his big speech about Rex Calabrese, the old mob boss that he grew up knowing, he's actually from the comics. It's meant to tee up his whole Scarface mission that he's on in life to become a person that's respected. Then, of course, Alberto does the exact wrong thing you could possibly do in this moment, laughing at him, and he kills him. Love the comedic way they play this too, like WTF but funny, the F-bomb, the intro titles with the body inside the letters. We'll see if they have funny intros like this for each of the episodes. It might just be for episode 1. So the big problem now is he has to figure out what to do with the body. In the way that Matt Reeves explained it, him killing Alberto basically informs everything he does the rest of the series, like this haunts him through the rest of the episodes. They play some of the new Penguin theme music, which sounds very much like classic Penguin, and we wind up meeting his new underling, like the new person that he takes under his wing, who is trying to steal his wheels off the car with a couple other kids, like trying to steal from the wrong person at the wrong time. You might recognize the actor. This is Renzi Feliz from Runaways. His name on the show is Victor Aguilar. There are a couple special dates and Easter eggs on Alberto's phone when he's going through it looking for information, so he finds out when the shipment is arriving. Remember, he's going to use that and try and ride that to power. But you notice Gotham Knights on there? That's the name of a sports team inside the city. It's also a name from the comics, too. Also, on October 31st, on Halloween, there is a date that says Sophia. So the idea is that he used to visit her inside Arkham Asylum all the time just because they had a good brother-sister relationship. The fact that the date is on Halloween is a reference to Sophia Falcone from The Long Halloween in the Batman Dark Victory comic book stories. They slowly start to bond, and Penguin starts talking a little bit about his backstory. He reveals that he had brothers, he has a father. We see some pictures of them later in the episode, and I'm assuming that at some point they died before he graduated from high school, because at a certain point you start seeing only pictures of him and his mother, and it looks like he's in high school. When he takes him to this woman here, her name on the show is Eve Carlo, which feels like a sly wink at Basil Carlo, the original Clayface from the classic comics. He wasn't a metahuman like the second version of Clayface. They did his origin story during the new Batman Caped Crusader TV series, which, big coincidence, Matt Reeves was a producer on with J.J. Abrams and Bruce Timm. They basically did it like Batman the Animated Series, but what if it took place during a more period-accurate 1940s with that level of technology? So like Batman during that series doesn't have all the gadgets that he has from Batman the Animated Series. They take the body, then hide it in an abandoned car, and he takes Salvatore Maroni's ring. So he hasn't developed his plan to pin his death on Maroni yet. That doesn't come till later in the episode, but remember that they put the body in this car. This becomes important at the end of the episode. When Victor successfully bargains for his life here, you have to remember Penguin really did seem like he was about to kill him, like, oh, okay, I guess I'll let you live for a little while. We'll see if you're useful. Then he takes him back to his personal apartment, like where he actually does sleep, and notice the doors on his bedroom seem like modified doors from a bank safe, like the safest possible place you could find to sleep. Taking a little nap inside a bank vault. We get a look at his deformed foot. It's the reason he's got the waddle. The canon of the show, I think, is that he grew up so poor that his family couldn't afford to get his foot fixed when he was a baby, so he just grew up having to live with it like that. But you also notice in a lot of his childhood photos, he doesn't have that giant gash scar across his face, so I think at some point they'll explain where he got that scar. When he complains about the Riddler, calling him a madman, in the comics, they have worked together a lot in the past. You've also seen in the Batman movies before too, but at least right now in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, he absolutely hates the Riddler. We go to the warehouse where he runs his drops business out of. It becomes a big plot point later in the episode because the Falcones want to stop it, all because there's so much heat on them after Carmine's death from the feds and from the local police. When they mention some of their men got jumped by the Odessa mob, that's a Russian mob from the Batman comics. Burnley Town, they also mention, is Burnley Town Massive, another American mob from the Batman comics. So there's just a lot of different crime families around the Matt Reeves Batman universe. We go to Carmine Falcone's personal house outside the city. You have to remember, he was very powerful. He had many houses all over the place, but this is meant to be like his main residence outside the city. We find out that John Beatty calls him in to talk about shutting down the Drops operation, and they almost kick him out of the family, like, oh, you done a lot of good for us, thanks, but no thanks. And in another move to try and call an audible and save his position in the family, relative, like save his power, he tries to sell them on Alberto Falcone's plan, not really understanding what was in the shipment that was coming, like Alberto never told him what was coming. All while Sofia Falcone walks in from the background, and we find out later that she was actually in on the plan with Alberto, so she knows that Penguin was connected to Alberto. Like, how else would you know about the plan if Alberto wasn't with you the night that he disappeared? There are a couple conversations that they have throughout the episode where they hint at their history together. She implies that she got put in Arkham Asylum by Carmine because of something that they did, like she accidentally killed someone or something like that, and Penguin informed on her to her father, Carmine, and Carmine is the one that put her in Arkham. The way that she talks about it, she makes it sound like Penguin sold her out and she has a vendetta against him for that. But at least at this early point in the episode, she only suspects that he has something to do with Alberto's disappearance. Like, where were you last night? What was going on? Why are these bullet holes in your car? This is all mysterious. The way they're positioning their characters, they're a little bit like love interests, but also kind of rivals. Like, Penguin is kind of afraid of her just because she's so unpredictable, so unhinged. She literally mentions her hangman name from the Dark Victory Batman comics. And apparently Sofia did not know that Alberto was an addict. Like, apparently she'd been in Arkham for a long time and he'd just been hiding that from her when he went to visit her. On the subway car, they're approached by one of the Riddler's followers. Remember, this is like right after the events of the movie, so he still has a very large following even though he was thrown in Arkham. The QR code that he shows him on screen, you can actually scan that. It takes you to the Ratalata website with more messages and more news articles that they were posting on their social media accounts. I did think it was funny that he was hiding his car key to this car inside the wheel well, like, oh, just put it in here, nobody's gonna steal the car, who'd be stupid enough to do that? Listening to Dolly Parton, which they pay off at the end of the episode, playing that 9 to 5 song over the end credits. The way they play this too, it seems like he goes to visit his mother on a pretty regular basis because he's taking care of her, she has dementia. Also, it looks like he hides a ton of cash there, just in case, like emergency cash. And it is very much an emergency right now because Sofia Falcone suspects that he killed Alberto. It seems like he really does care about his mother's well-being, like they feel like it's the two of them against the rest of the world, like nobody else cares about them the way they care about each other. But she is so abusive, so bad to him, that she would make like Cersei Lannister seem like the mother of the year. Then when he's watching that old song on the TV, it gives him the idea to shift the blame for Alberto's death onto Salvatore Maroni by giving him his ring back and dumping Alberto's body, cutting the finger off, like the ring finger, at the Falcones. So they think that it's the Maronis coming after them for revenge for getting Maroni thrown in prison. Then he goes to Blackgate to see Maroni, and they talk about their history together. It sounds like it's not good, like it sounds like Penguin had something to do with him getting thrown in prison. Pretty much everything that Penguin says here about teaming up with him against the Falcones is only half right. Like he'll use whatever he can to try and work his way to power. Like he's playing both families against each other. But the way he leaves, giving him his ring, look how he perks up when he pulls his ring out. Like, I almost forgot to give you this. Maroni suspects that he killed Carmine, even though he doesn't come out and say it. All because how else would he have gotten the ring if he didn't pull it off of his dead finger? When he tries to go back to his apartment, there's a sign for orchid diamonds. There is a black orchid character in the Batman comics, but I don't know if this is meant to specifically be a reference to that. Sophia's men chase him down and wind up catching him, but there are a couple of funny moments here, like WTF moments. He hides in his own trunk, and it almost works. He winds up stabbing the dude with the air freshener, which he was bragging about earlier in the episode, and I love that funny WTF moment where he gets run over by the school bus full of children with him waving at the children, like the children have no idea what just happened. Sophia then tells him the story about how the guards at Arkham mistreated her, making her the other inmates strip naked every day, stripping him. Notice, obviously, he's wearing a fat suit, like this is Colin Farrell here. He's not big like this. The other funny detail that you don't see, thankfully they do not show it to you, like they don't go full Monty, but Colin Farrell said on the day when they filmed this scene, they made this naked fat suit for him, but they also made a prosthetic dong that was shaped like a penguin. Thank you very much, HBO, for not making us watch that. Sophia then reveals why she was so close to Alberto, because Alberto would visit her all the time, and even though he was a douche, she cared about him. She straight up kills the kid that informed on Penguin like, you were there the night that they saw the body coming out of the club. She doesn't kill the kid because she hated him, but because she wants to mess with the Penguin's head, like, look at how crazy I am. And the whole idea here is that he developed this contingency plan with Victor to frame the Maronis for the death of Alberto if something like this were to happen. So that's why he was trying to call Victor on the phone unsuccessfully. Like, he was trying to tell him, like, okay, it's go time. They're going to capture me pretty soon, so you're going to need to get ready with that car and the body. It seems like it works like a charm, like Sophia freaks out, but now she doesn't suspect Penguin was behind this. Which is why they celebrate by getting the 2 suicide slushies that Penguin told Victor about earlier in the episode. There are a couple funny moments about Victor being too squeamish about cutting up the body, so that's why it was the entire body in the trunk when he crashed the car. But overall, I love the vibe of the episode. We'll see where they take the series. It'll be really interesting to see what else they invoke from the rest of the Batman mythos inside the Robert Pattinson universe. But everybody post all your reactions and your theories in the comments below. And if there are any other Easter eggs or references that I didn't talk about in the episode, just write them in the comments. They wind up playing the end credits with that Dolly Parton song 9 to 5 that they played earlier in the episode. There are a couple Easter eggs throughout the actual end credits. It's mostly locations from the series around Gotham City and characters from the series. The really big reminder is that episodes from now on, like episode 2 through the finale, will actually be on Sunday nights, but not this coming Sunday, like the week after Sunday, and then it'll be weekly after that. I don't know why they're airing episode 1, then waiting like 10 plus days to air episode 2, but for whatever reason, HBO decided to do it that way. So my full episode 2 video will post the Sunday that they release that episode. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. We have a bunch of big series happening right now that I'm doing episode videos for. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that stuff. Everybody click here for all my Batman 2 videos and click here for my brand new Thunderbolts trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.